Hello, I'm Dr. Cindy, and welcome to this live today, Thursday. It is 12:15. I am live on TikTok and Facebook. And remember, keep the questions relevant to the topic. If you do have a question outside of it, feel free to email me, Cindy at drcindyross.com. So I was at the gym this morning. I was doing a little personal training before I started seeing patients. And I was like, what am I going to do my topic on today? And I know everybody's been watching the news about the projected healthcare cost in 2026, and it's scary. I mean, Jason and I have been talking about this. You know, we use Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we're self-insured because we work for ourselves, and we just actually minimized our plan this year because my rep was so amazing to let me know that it was going to probably triple in 2026. And so we were already paying so much money. I mean, like $1,800, $2,000 a month, which is crazy expensive. And then our deductible was still really expensive. And we found ourselves at the beginning of the year when I was so sick, we were paying for MRIs out of pocket because it was just cheaper and it made more sense and you didn't have to go through all the hoops. So, I mean, I don't take insurance in my practice for when they're so restrictive about what they will and will not cover or what we can and cannot draw as far as labs. And so I'm all about getting to the root cause of the issue. And I need to see the full story. Well, with these premiums and everything going up so much, I don't know how people are going to afford it. So as I was talking to my client this morning, I was like, this is a really good topic because now more than ever is when you have to really invest in yourself and you got to take care of yourself. And we want to prevent any chronic illness from happening, right? Because we don't know what tomorrow looks like. And I mean, again, I'm all about living in the present today. We can't worry about tomorrow. We can't control it. We can't change the past. But it is scary and it is frightening and it's just the two of us, so I can't imagine having a family and worrying about premiums and deductibles. So back to Jason and I, we went down on our plan and we now pay $800 a month and our deductible is like $10,000, which would be crazy to have to pay, but we just found it being more reasonable because, knock on wood, we aren't sick that often and we don't have to go to a primary doctor or a specialist or anything like that. So, knock on wood, hopefully it stays that way. But we invest in other ways. Our supplements, our food. My food, now that I'm training to compete in 2026, I'm eating 7 meals a day, and our food bill went from like 165 a week to where we're close to $500. But we don't eat out, and we pay for supplements and we pay for peptides, and so we're investing in it on the front end to where we hope that it pays off in the back end, to where we're not plagued with a chronic illness. So that's what I want to talk about today because it is more important than ever right now to take control of your health, to get ahead of the New Year's resolutions. Like, New Year's resolutions are just setting you up to fail. So I want you to think of it as a complete lifestyle change. So if you've seen the news, you already know that 2026 is projected to be one of the most expensive years for healthcare in history. Rising premiums, deductibles, and medication costs. Somebody was telling me that they were on one of the GLPs that their work covers, but starting in January, their work is not going to cover it anymore, and it's like $800, $800 a month. They're not going to be able to stay on it. So you gotta, again, those peptides, they're just enhancements. You gotta put the work in. So I'm gonna again reiterate, you gotta take control of your health. So today I want to show you the one thing that you can control, and that's how you invest in yourself. Prevention, reaction, empowerment, right? They all play a role. So I'm going to break it down into simple terms. Expected rise in private insurance premiums. You're going to have out-of-pocket costs increasing even for the insured individuals. Surprise billing still happening. ER visits skyrocketing in price. And you're going to see a lot more chronic disease. When I was talking to my Blue Cross Blue Shield rep, she was saying that one of the reasons that the insurance is doubling and tripling is because there is more and more chronic disease, and what they used to project, it was not covering it because more and more cancer cases, more and more diabetes. And again, it's all in our lifestyle. It's what we're eating. It's what we're environmentally. It's what we're consuming. So the cost burden is becoming more and more expensive. There's a lack of preventative care, which means higher bills later on. So that is the reason that the insurance is going up. The cost of doing nothing is the most expensive bill that you're ever going to pay. I'm going to repeat that. The cost of doing nothing is the most expensive bill that you'll ever pay. So what does self-insuring really mean? So that's what we do. So self-insuring, it's becoming your biggest asset. It means investing in nutrition, lab work. Jason and I I did the lab orders. We're going tomorrow. We do a full extensive panel on ourselves every 6 months because things can change. So you don't want to just do it once a year and put it away and be like, everything's great, because things can change fast. I've seen it. And then we do, in between every quarter, we're checking to make sure that liver enzymes look good, cholesterol markers look good. But every 6 months, we are investing. And I mean, just our lab work alone, my cost for myself on the extensive is $600. So I know it sounds crazy expensive, but what you're going to save on the back end it's so worth it. So again, self-insuring is prevention, it's stress reduction. I was talking to another doctor yesterday, and we were collaborating on a patient, and we were just saying that until she gets her stress under control, it doesn't matter what we throw at her, we're not going to get ahead. So if you got chronic stress in your life, you better learn how to get it under control. Meditation, walks, lifting weights in the gym, breathing exercises. Get it under control, because that stress raises cortisol levels. Cortisol levels contribute to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance feeds cancer cells. It's one big vicious cycle. You have to get into fitness, again, before the new year. And sleep. Sleep is so important. Again, that's something that I practice on a daily basis, but make sure that you're trying to get in at least 7 hours of sleep. They say 7 to 9 is the best. My body seems to thrive on 5 to 6. I don't know why, but 7 to 9 hours. And supplements that move the needle. Again, you cannot manage what you're not measuring. Just because John Brown on the treadmill next to you tells you what he's taking doesn't mean that you need to go out and take it. You need to see what you're actually deficient in, do some labs, make sure that your functional medicine practitioner is studying those labs to see what your imbalances are. You don't want to just take a bunch of supplements because everyone else is, because they're taxing your liver and your kidneys. We want to make sure that you're doing it smart. Education and understanding your body. There is so much noise out there, and people hire me and they say, we're so glad that you're coaching us through whatever is going on, because it's noisy out there. There's so much information, you don't know what to believe, what not to believe. There's literally an article for anything that you want to believe, and it's noisy. So you got to do your own homework. But the beauty of it is there's so much information out there. So there is no reason why you cannot be educated. You do not need a PhD. You do not need a doctorate. You just there's so many AI programs that you can go into and learn about whatever you need to learn about. So do your deep dives. There's podcasts. There's audibles. If you're not a reader, listen to it on your way to work. I'm telling you guys, you have to educate yourself. It's going to be the difference between paying hundreds now or tens of thousands later and facing a diagnosis that probably is not going to be irreversible. So you got to make sure that you're investing right now. Using the education that you have to be your best advocate. Patients who have changed their biomarkers in weeks, I'm gonna give you a couple stories on that. I'm gonna give you a couple stories on cancer prevention cases today, and then also diabetes reversal. Working on hormones all the time. Again, correction of hormones will save you thousands in medications. You're not going to be chasing your tail trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, and it's perfect timing because December is the month that usually people are waiting. January is the month that people start, and then they usually quit by January 15th. Like, you get the big gym rush, and then everybody's gone. But people who succeed do not wait for January. They prepare right now. This is a great month to go ahead and get ahead of it, because that dreaded 5 to 10 pounds that you gained during the holidays, wouldn't it be amazing if you just didn't gain, not necessarily lose, but didn't gain this year just because you went ahead and started? And then that way you're not like, the holidays end and you're like, I'm starting this whole New Year's resolution on January 2nd or January 3rd, and it's kind of a dread excitement. But if you start it now, you're already in those habits. We got, 3 weeks until the new year, so 21 days forms a habit. So start it now. Your 2026 self will thank you for starting in December of 2025. Those decisions matter right now. All right, so what does getting ahead look like? Schedule labs before January hits. Build a supplementation plan and stick to it. Don't just waste your money and buy supplements that just are going to sit in the cabinet. Make sure that you stick to the plan. Again, I think so many people take supplements as, it's okay if I miss it. If you want the needle to move and you want to make changes, you have to be consistent. I have a whole morning routine. I sit down with my little peptide. I got a little container that has all my needles and alcohol swabs and peptides in it. It's like a 10-minute ordeal every morning. I throw in a meditation while I'm doing it. Meditation music, love it. And then I take all my supplements after my breakfast in the morning. And it's like a 30-minute ritual, but it's part of my morning routine, and I love it. Like, when we were in Greece, I did stick to it probably 90% of the time, but I missed it. I missed having that regimen. And once you get into it, you'll like it, because you're going to feel amazing and your body's going to like it, and it will pay off. Get clarity on your goals, whatever that looks like for you. Write it down. Make a visionary board. I've been seeing all around the city of Orange Beach, they actually have a visionary board class. Whatever that looks like. I'm not much of a paper person. I like to put everything in my either iPad or my cloud, my notes, and but I make goals as well, and you gotta speak them for them to come true, right? You gotta talk about them, and talk about them with your family. That way you get support with your family and your friends. And then stress management, okay? Going into the first quarter of the year, stress is always high. So what is your plan to handle stress management? Maybe sign up for an online meditation classes once a week or every day. They're out there. I am a member of quite a few of them. But as much as you want it to be, they're out there. And all the apps, all the fitness apps, they all have meditations, yoga, Pilates. So things like that you need to incorporate in your life to keep your cortisol levels down, keep the central nervous system calm down, and to make sure that we are not killing ourselves with stress. All right, so this is the way that I want you to look at it. Self-investment isn't a luxury, it's a strategy where your health dollars actually matter most. All right, so I'm going to break down the highest return on investment areas. Functional labs. That does not mean going to your primary doctor and just getting a CBC. You need to know what inflammation you have going on in your body, what your insulin looks like, what the hormones look like. if you're deficient in any of your nutrients, micronutrients. You got to look at the full picture to get exactly the root cause of what's going on. Again, I'm going to say this. You cannot manage what you're not measuring. My most favorite line. It's true. Nutrition. We're going to eat for longevity versus eating for cravings. What most chronic diseases are tied to is those cravings, because you got insulin resistance, you're craving sugar, carbs, and it's just one vicious cycle. And again, if you got insulin resistance, it doesn't matter how much you work out, it doesn't matter how well you eat, until you fix it and get that turned around. And we talked about it last week when I was talking about the berberine. Until you fix it, you're going to be banging your head up against the wall going, I don't understand why I cannot drop the weight. It's because you have insulin resistance. And again, your primary doctor is not checking for that. They're only checking your fasting glucose, and most of the time that looks fine. We just don't want to be having a different conversation in a year and you've been running insulin resistance the whole entire time that could have been reversed, and then all of a sudden you have a type 2 diabetes diagnosis. We don't want that. All right, supplements that work. This is another key on return on investment. What you test in your labs determines what you take. Prevention-based stacks on supplements. I take a lot of supplements. I have rheumatoid arthritis, so my story looks different than yours. There's no one size fits all. Again, what I take doesn't necessarily mean that's what you take. It is all individually based off of whatever your deficiencies and imbalances are. Movement. You have to move. Like this right here, sitting here, it's worse than smoking cigarettes. Literally, being sedentary is worse than smoking cigarettes. You have to move. Yes, I know that you guys have desk jobs. A lot of you have desk jobs. You're behind the desk for 8+ hours a day. My watch, my smartwatch, my Fitbit, literally every hour reminds me to stand up, because I am guilty as charged of sitting here, especially when I get on a roll. I just want to keep going. But I'm telling you guys, you have to move. And then one of the biggest things for insulin resistance, and this will really help with spikes in your glucose, y'all hear Eddie, he's barking, is going to be taking a small walk after your meals, especially after dinner. It doesn't matter. It could be a half a mile. It could be a mile. As long as you're getting in about 20 minutes, it will help regulate that glucose, keeping it down, and then it's also burning calories and you're getting your steps in. Again, I would aim for about 7,500 steps a day. That's kind of the new, I guess, measurement. 10,000 was the measurement forever, but they're saying that you reap the benefits at 7,500. So I would definitely put that as your mark. And if you go higher than that, wonderful. Reducing toxin exposures this year, okay? Water quality. There's a website that you can go to and look to see what contaminants are in your water. I will list that in the notes. I cannot tell you what it is. I want to say it's like ewg.org. That's probably not it, but it's in my phone, and I will put it in the notes so you guys, wherever you're at, you can put your zip code in and check to see what contaminants. Also, minimize any mold exposure, plastics, and alcohol. Alcohol is a toxin. Remember that, okay? It's a carcinogen. So you gotta reduce your alcohol. All right. These decisions compound like interest, okay? So what you decide today is what you're going to be faced with in 2026. So make sure that your decisions are in your best interest. Why now is the best time to invest in yourself? Well, we got the momentum for the new year coming, so we're not going to wait on New Year's resolutions. You can set the foundation before the chaos of January, before all the people start coming in the gym, and you can step into 2026 with empowerment, knowing that you've already started your new habits, your new lifestyle change without all the anxiety. Investing in yourself is the one thing that you will never regret. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and wholeheartedly am in the best shape of my life. After 2 years of competing, everything that I've been through, having holding 40 plus pounds, losing it, I'm in the best shape of my life. When we were talking, my goal this year was just to get moving because I was so decrepit from my RA and having the flare and having the injury that caused the flare in my RA. I was the sickest I probably have been ever in my life in January, February of this year. My goal was just to move. I just wanted to navigate the stairs of my house. That was it. That was my goal. And I stuck with it every day. And then all of a sudden, I just stayed consistent, stayed on the plan, did the supplements, did the peptides, dialed into my nutrition, and I'm in the best shape of my life. I put the work in every day. Every day. Again, how much, it all depends on how much you want to put in, but I promise you, you will never regret investing in yourself. Okay? So I put together a metabolism reboot program. So if you go to my website, lifewellnessforever.com, you can go into the store and it's there, and it's a 7-day metabolism reboot. I got it for $4.99, 17-page PDF, and it goes through supplements, peptides, wellness plan, all the things, right? And it will just help you get started. Now, if you want a little bit more dialed in, you want the personalized nutrition, you want the labs and all that, give me a call, set up an appointment. We can do telehealth for anyone, anywhere in the world. 251-635-7477. Website is lifewellnessforever.com. This is the year that you can partner with someone who actually hears you, sees the whole picture, and understands prevention. That would be me. Okay, I understand I'm always my own guinea pig. So I get it. I understand. I'm never going to judge you. No matter where you're at in your fitness journey or your health journey, I'm there. I'm there for you. I'm there for it all. All right, so just remember, rising healthcare costs are not the headline. Your response is, okay? Your body is your longest investment. Treat it like the asset it is. I want to share a couple of stories with you guys. So instead of doing a Q&A, hey Angela, hey Latoya, see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And I got a ton of people over here on TikTok too. So I appreciate you guys spending some time with me. I'm going to skip over the Q&A and I'm going to go into a couple patient stories. Okay, so the $45 lab that saved someone $45,000. I love this one. I had a patient who looked perfectly healthy on the outside. Normal weight, active, never felt sick. She only came to me because she felt off and wanted to get ahead of things before the new year. Her general practitioner told her everything looked fine. Her basic labs were normal, but her functional labs showed sky-high inflammation and insulin started to creep up, the insulin resistance. So we made a few small tweaks, nutrition adjustments, added in some supplements, talked to her about some stress work. 3 months later, her labs completely flipped. And this is what she told me. Cindy, those labs were the best money I've ever spent. If I didn't know what was happening inside of me, I would have walked straight into disease. A $45 test prevented what could have turned into $45,000 problem down the road. And this is exactly what happened to my husband when he got sick with COVID. General practitioner kept telling him for years everything was fine. Everything was fine. He had been running fatty liver that was never flagged and had to have a drug that was super hard on the liver, and it put him into medically induced hepatitis, and he almost died during COVID. So again, you cannot manage what you're not measuring. You need more than just your average CBC, CMP, which is what insurance covers. But again, insurance is so expensive. On the back end, you can save so much money on the front end by knowing exactly what's going on. Another patient came to me only after everything fell apart. She had extreme fatigue, weight gain, blood sugar out of control, depression, And when we ran labs, it was inflammation, insulin resistance, which I see probably 7 or 8 out of 10 every patient. I'm seeing it. And then her hormones had bottomed out. She told me, I thought I could power through it. I thought it was just normal. My doctor told me it was just my age. I didn't want to spend the money, but now she was facing doctors, meds, specialists, and months of recovery. Prevention is always cheaper than repair. You do not want to be trying to chase it. Your body will whisper for years. It will let you know that there is something off, and then one day it will scream. And you do not want to be laying in a hospital bed with a diagnosis when everything could have been reversed. All right, one more. Cancer prevention story. A patient came to me with a strong family history of cancer. She wasn't sick. She was scared. She said, I just want to know I've done everything I can. So I ran a comprehensive panel, inflammation, vitamin D, insulin, ferritin, hormone markers. Several numbers were red flags. She looked at me and she said, I would have never known. 4 months later, her inflammatory markers cut in half, vitamin D was optimized, weight was down, energy up, and her oncologist literally said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. People don't realize cancer prevention is a real thing, but you can't manage what you aren't measuring. So I'm telling you guys, when I'm looking at your labs, I'm looking for patterns. Your general practitioner, your oncologist, they're not looking at patterns. By the time that it shows up in a CBC or a CMP, it's usually stage 4 cancer. There are flags that you can look for prior to that where you can catch it very early and get things turned around. Remember, cancer is no more than a chronic illness. We just want to make sure that when we turn those cancer cells on, we turn those cancer cells off. We want to make sure we're not feeding it with something like insulin resistance that is very easily reversible. All right, guys, I appreciate you all for tuning in. I don't see any questions coming through, but I love this topic, and I'm all about prevention, as you guys know. So if you have any questions, again, my email is cindy@drcindyross.com. Give me a call to set up a consultation, 251-635-7477. Visit my website for more information, lifewellnessforever.com. I am not going to be live for the next couple weeks because we are going out of town for the holidays, and I'm going to be in the woods hiking, getting in all my steps every day. But I still will do a video every week. It just won't be live because I'm not sure how great my Wi-Fi. I have it, but it's in and out sometimes when I try to go live. So I don't want to miss anything, and I don't want you guys trying to understand the videos with it going in and out. So I will make sure that I post it on YouTube and then share it on all social media. So again, if you have any questions on any of those, reach out to me, email me, or give me a call. And I hope you guys have while I have you live, I hope you guys have a great Christmas, great holiday season. And again, remember, live in the present day, not worrying about tomorrow, not changing the past. Right now, right here, enjoy every minute that you are gifted life, and tell the people you care about how much you love them. All right, I will see you guys soon, and appreciate you all. Bye bye.